This video is about German case and will focus on genitive. Case is really important in the German language. You learned that in the video about nominative and accusative case and in another video about dative. This time we are learning genitive case. Remember, case is like the NFL. This time we are going to learn about the genitive team. On teams, you have players. The same is true for case. Players are people in the NFL. On the teams in case, the players are nouns and pronouns. Nouns and pronouns are people, places, and things. Nouns are easy to recognize in German because all nouns are capitalized. Pronouns that you know include ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie, and sie for nominative, and also the pronouns you learned for accusative and dative in previous videos. So who is on the genitive team? In order to be a player on the genitive team, you are possessive or show possession, after one of the prepositions anstatt, trotz, während, or wegen. There are 23 genitive prepositions, but we're just going to focus on these ones. You can look up the rest on the internet if you choose, but these are the most often used prepositions. Certain time expressions are also genitive. This is time in the nebulous or unknown future. Examples include eines Tages, eines Abends, eines Nachts. Even though Nacht is feminine, the analogy to other parts of the day is stronger than gender here, so it acts as if it is masculine. So, we're going to talk more about how to form genitive now. For masculine and neuter, you have der and das as your thes. Der and das becomes des. This is only one article. Other options include mein, ein, and kein. So, der or das turns to des, mein turns to meines, ein to eines, and kein to keines. The second rule is if the noun has one syllable, you add es. So we have das Kind, das Buch, and der Mann. One-syllable nouns. Das Kind becomes des Kindes, das Buch, des Buches, der Mann, des Mannes. If the noun has more than one syllable, you add es. We have der Computer, das Mädchen, and der Rucksack. Der Computer becomes des Computers, das Mädchen becomes des Mädchens, and der Rucksack becomes des Rucksacks. For feminine and plural, the is always die in the nominative case. Die becomes der. We also have other articles like meine, eine, and keine. So die becomes der, meine becomes meiner, eine becomes einer, and keine becomes keiner. The second rule for feminine and plural nouns is nothing, that's it. So, die Frau, die Lampe, and die Katze become der Frau, der Lampe, and der Katze. Die Kinder, die Autos, die Frauen, and die Bücher become der Kinder, der Autos, der Frauen, der Bücher. We're going to look at possession. This seems to be the most used form of genitive by students. You want to say things like, my parents' house. Okay, so the house is das Haus. Genitive is possession. So you have to think of this statement a little bit differently. My parents' house in English turns into the house of my parents in German. It's actually still okay to say the house of my parents in English, we just don't do it. So the house of my parents is my parents' house. The way to say my parents is meine Eltern. That's meine Eltern in nominative. So meine Eltern is plural, parents. Plural in genitive would mean that meine becomes meiner. So we get das Haus meiner Eltern is das Haus, nominative, and meiner Eltern, genitive. So meiner Eltern really means of my parents. And that is how we show possession. So now you can talk about that house. Das Haus meiner Eltern ist groß, for example. Das Haus meiner Eltern ist blau, or klein, alt, neu, in St. Louis, weit von Springfield, in Colorado. My parents' house is big, blue, small, old, new, in St. Louis, far from Springfield, in Colorado. Remember, my parents' house is the house of my parents. You can also go visit there. For For example, ich besuche das Haus meiner Eltern. I visit my parents' house. You can also go there, but Germans might say it differently. Ich fahre zu meinen Eltern is I drive to my parents. House is completely left off because it is implied. Also, there is no genitive here at all because zu is a dative preposition. So this is how Germans would say, I drive to my parents. You can also talk about other things. For example, die Farbe ihrer Augen ist, the color of her eyes is. Die Farbe deiner Haare ist, the color of your hair is. This is genitive possession. Remember, deiner Haare means of your hair. Ihrer Augen means of her eyes. Meiner Eltern means of my parents. Genitive is of, plus the way your article is, my, her, your, and then the noun. You can avoid using genitive for possession if you use von and dative instead. This is common, but so is genitive. After one of the prepositions anstatt, trotz, während, or wegen, you get genitive. Similarly to the way accusative and dative works, nouns or pronouns directly after one of these prepositions is the object of a preposition. These preps are genitive preps, so the noun or pronoun after them will be genitive. Some examples include Trotz des Regens gehen wir wandern. In spite of the rain, we are going hiking. Ich gehe zu der Party statt or anstatt meiner Freundin. I am going to the party instead of my friend. Note that statt or anstatt mean the same thing and are used interchangeably. That's why we put on in parentheses, because you can use it or not use it. Während des Sommers arbeite ich viel. During the summer, I work a lot. Note, only the noun or pronoun directly after the preposition is genitive. Each noun or pronoun has its own case. In the third sentence above, des Sommers is genitive, or the object of a preposition. Ich is the nominative subject. Ich is not genitive just because während is the first word in the sentence, and all other words come after it. Certain time expressions are genitive. This is time in the nebulous or unknown future. Examples include eines Tages, eines Abends, eines Nachts, even though Nacht is feminine. Remember, we mentioned that before. You have probably not been using these time expressions and would rarely use them, but they are useful. The most useful one is eines Tages. This means someday in the unknown future. For example, eines Tages werde ich Kinder haben, or eines Tages habe ich Kinder. Both mean someday I will have kids. The first one does this with the verb werden, which already means will. The other does this because of the meaning of the time expression. Am I pregnant now? No. Is the plan to be soon? Nope. Eines Tages. It is great for trips you want to take someday and things you want to do when you grow up. You can, if you want to, make other time expressions like this, like eines Abends, some evening, or eines Nachts, some night. But that is unnecessary because someday really says it all. So, does this matter? Genitive matters for the words or an and the in German. German nouns and pronouns take case. Pronouns change, and the articles in front of the nouns, the, or an, also change. You learned pronouns for nominative, accusative, and dative. These are common and used often. Genitive pronouns are not used often. They exist, but they are so rare that we are not going to learn them. There is a pronoun or adjective called the demonstrative pronoun adjective that is used in genitive, as well as other cases. We have not learned any demonstrative pronouns or adjectives in any case. You may learn demonstrative pronouns or adjectives in intermediate German, but they will not be used or learned in elementary German. For more information on demonstratives, feel free to look it up on the internet. You cannot learn everything at once. Give your brain a break. The word the changes in German based on the case of the noun that the is part of. Not only does the change, but words in the same family change, like the der words that you use. This includes dies, this or these, jede, every, manch, some, welch, which, and solch, such or those kinds of. These will be used as an example for how they change in this chart. So we have masculine, feminine, neuter, and plural. For nominative, it's der or dieser, die or diese, das or dieses, die or diese. This is not new, this is old. For accusative, we have den or diesen, die or diese, das or dieses, and die or diese. For dative, dem diesem, der dieser, dem diesem, dem diesen. Genitive is new, and we learned these in previous slides. How do we say it for masculine? des or dieses. For feminine, der or dieser. Neutrum, same as masculine, des, dieses. Plural, same as feminine, der, dieser. There's also a fun way to remember this that just involves a few letters to make it easier. We have Resa for nominative, der, die, das, die. Accusative, we have Nesa, den, die, das, die. For a dative, we have Merman or Mr. Minnesota, right? Dame, der, dame, dane. And then for genitive, we have Surser, des, der, des, der. The word an or a changes in German based on the case of the noun that the a or an is a part of. Since there is no a for plural things, the word kein, which means not a, will be used in place of a. Kein is also in the a family, so you may not be able to say students are friendly, but you can definitely say no students are friendly. So this will show you which ending you would need on kein in that situation. Not only do these words change, but the words in the same family change, like the possessives. This includes mein, dein, sein, ihr, unser, euer, ihr, and ihr. Mine will be used as an example for how they change in this chart. So we have masculine, feminine, neuter, and plural. And for nominative, you have ein, mein, eine, meine, ein, mein, keine, meine. This should not be new information. For accusative, you have einen, meinen, eine, meine, ein, mein, and keine, meine. For dative, you have einem, meinem, einer, meiner, einem, meinem, and keinen, meinen. Genitive is what's new for us. We have eines, meines, einer, meiner, eines, meines, and keiner, meiner. We still have ways to remember these more easily. So note, they kind of look a lot like the chart. So for the, we have Resa. For the masculine and neuter, where ein stays ein and gets no ending, we have X's, no endings. And for accusative, we have that again in the neuter position. There's no endings on ein. Aside from these three positions where you have no endings on ein, it's exactly the same as the, which was Resa, Nesa, Merman, Surser. So if you can remember those letters and remember that in the us, it's just different in those three positions, you'll have it down. We also need to talk about end nouns. There are special nouns called end nouns. These are weak masculine nouns that don't follow normal rules. Not all masculine nouns are end nouns, but all end nouns are masculine. Some examples are der Student, student, der Junge, boy, der Mensch, person, der Nachbar, neighbor, der Herr, gentleman. These nouns like n a lot, so much so that they get an extra n in accusative and dative forms. We already learned this. The new information is that although we learned that masculine nouns in genitive get an es if they are one syllable and an s if they are more than one syllable, that rule does not apply to end nouns. They got an N and they are keeping it. For example, we have der Student in nominative, which is den Studentin in accusative, dem Studentin in dative, and now des Studentin in genitive. The word Studentin above is still one singular male student, but it is like the word sees that der changed to dame and decided that it also wanted an N. There are a lot of end nouns, but the 5 above are just some common ones. If you look up one of these words in the dictionary, it might look like this: der Junge, n, n. One of these is the plural symbol, and the other is there to show you that Junge is an end noun. Mensch gets en as an end noun, Nachbar gets n, and Herr gets n. That's it for the genitive video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in class.